That's exactly right. Right now, Isaac is still a tropical storm, but we are expecting Isaac to weaken and become a depression a little later today. We're also looking at a potential tornado threat in the area as well over Louisiana. You're going to see that red box right there. It's a red watch box, and it's indicating a tornado warning that's currently in effect. The majority of the system over the northwest portion of Louisiana continuing to move to the northwest at a very slow pace at about 9 miles an hour right now. So with that, we could still see more flooding in the area as well. Expecting 4 to 8 additional inches of rain as we head into the next few days. And of course, we're going to have that forecast cone and the track of Isaac coming up for you in a little bit. We are expecting some rain up in the Midwest potentially over the next few days. So Isaac starting to weaken a little bit today, weakening even more so by your Friday, and by the time we head into your weekend into next week, just looking at some residual rain again making its way up to the Midwest. Remember, Isaac is set to become a tropical depression potentially later today. So we're going to have more on that forecast track, of course, and more on our local forecast. That's all coming up in a little bit. Lena, back to you.
All right, thanks, Evelyn.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dave, strike your best pose.
That's what we're looking
Hey,
for.
all you guys better hope I don't go out there and give them one of these.
You guys are all lucky he's got to be on the air today. He gets
right.
to audition.
Out of the
Speaking of
competition.
which, it is out there.
It's warm. It's actually not as warm as yesterday, not as humid, but it's still a little humid, and it is still warm.
Well, still a little warm.
Still warm. I mean,
Caliente
100
and
degrees
light
is
out
still
there.
warm, right? Caliente is right.
Now, we're not talking about the weather.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, maybe that's why it's so hot on this lot, right? All right. Well, we're going to actually show you exactly how warm it's going to get today and when it's finally going to cool down as well. We also have some thunderstorms in the forecast as more hours to go before we even top out in our afternoon high. So already quite warm out there right now. So as we get a look at temperatures and as we get a look at radar as well, you're going to see a few cells sitting to our east over the desert closer to Palm Springs. Take a look right here and several lightning strikes. So we are dealing with some thunderstorms at the moment. We were predicting this earlier, and here it is. You're going to see right around here the red, the yellow, the orange on your screen indicating lightning, thunder, and potential hail in the area all along the 10 right there. Looks like we are getting affected. So we're going to continue to track these cells for you. In the meantime, as a result, we do have a flash flood watch in effect this afternoon. Also a flash flood warning staying in effect through the afternoon. The watch actually in effect through this evening. And another thing to contend with, a high surf advisory. That goes into effect Friday at 6 a.m. That's tomorrow at 6 a.m. and it lasts through your Sunday, expecting a big swell to come through here. So we're going to have more on that high surf, of course, over the next couple of days. Temperature-wise right now, we're in the 90s already, 80s, 70s at the coast, 87 in Downey, 79 in Laguna Beach. Riverside, we're currently at 93 degrees. Later today, things look like this. Santa Clarita, 97. Northridge, we're getting up to 97 today as well. Downtown making it to 89, so technically a little cooler than yesterday, but just by a degree. In the mountains, you'll see that chance of thunderstorms and rain right here. 96 degrees in Ontario, 90 in Orange, and over to Irvine. We're going to be at 90, and Huntington at 78 degrees a little later this afternoon. Checking in with the IE, you'll see Riverside, we're getting up to 98 officially later. 97 San Bernardino, Palm Springs 103, and again, we are dealing with thunderstorms in the area and thunderstorms closer to Big Bear potentially as well. You'll see that right here as we head to the next couple of hours. As we head into the next couple of days, we are expecting temperatures to stay quite hot. 100 degrees for today for our valleys in the Inland Empire, and heading down into the 90s as we head into your weekend, and popping temperatures up a little bit as we head into next week. We've got a little bit of tropical moisture coming our way from the south, so with that, a little humid on Monday, and could see a few pop-up showers as well. For the basin in Orange County, we're flirting with the 90s today, getting down to the mid-80s, low 80s by Saturday, and keeping things that way just through Saturday, pumping temperatures up a few more degrees as we head into your Sunday and as we head into your Monday. We're going to have your forecast for the coast. That's coming up in just a little bit. Back to you. I've not had a bat. I've had a human walk through my forecast. Does that count? That happens a lot around here, but no bats. I'm yet to tell that story. All right. Well, oh, did I? No. Okay. Now I'm seeing things. All right. We want to take you outside right now to our Blue Ridge camera. It's an especially important shot today because we're actually looking at those cloud tops that are producing thunderstorms right off there in the distance. They're building vertically, and those cumulonimbus clouds are usually the clouds that indicate we do have a thunderstorm brewing or currently taking place, and that is the case right now. Before we get to our radar, we do want to take you to Isaac and just check in with the latest. Let's go ahead and do that. You're going to see that big watch box right there indicating potential tornadoes. This is a tornado warning watch box. We do want to track Isaac for you right here, your forecast cone showing you it's going at about 40 miles an hour. Still a tropical storm, potentially becoming a tropical depression a little later today. It's still moving very slow to the northwest at about 9 miles an hour. We're expecting more rainfall over the next few days. So for today, expecting about 4 to 10 additional inches. Then we're talking about 4 to 8 inches. And as the storm starts to take a turn, you're going to see that rainfall starting to lessen a little bit, 2 to 4 inches. And by Sunday and Monday, as we get closer to the Midwest, and as we make it to the Midwest, we're expecting another couple inches in the area. Here at home, we're dealing with thunderstorms of our own. Take a look right here over the desert. We're looking at severe cells, and that's going to continue to be the case over the next few hours. As a result, flash flood watch and flash flood warning currently in effect, and a high surf advisory going into effect as we head into tomorrow, lasting through your weekend. And there's that beach forecast we promised, upper 70s to mid 70s all week long. Lena and Dave, back to you. Dave and Lena starting to move up toward the Midwest over the next few days. Right now, still sitting over Louisiana, at least the brunt of it. We're looking at several tornado watches in the area. That's not uncommon with something like this. Isaac was a tropical storm just a little bit ago, but just recently was downgraded to a tropical depression, and that was originally going to be the case. So it looks like things are right on track. As we get a look at tropical Isaac, you're going to see winds are sustained at 35 miles an hour, still moving to the northwest, picking up speed just a little bit, which is good news. We're not looking at, well, that same system just lingering over one area for an extended period of time, and that's what generally is causing the flooding. It's still moving to the northwest again at 12 miles an hour. We're still expecting additional rainfall, even though it is a tropical depression. Doesn't mean we're not going to see rain and damage. Take a look at your storm track right here. 4 to 10 inches of rain still expected additionally. 4 to 8 inches as we continue moving. You're going to see 2 to 4 inches, and eventually Sunday into Monday as we start moving to the Midwest, we're expecting a few more inches of rain up there. We're going to continue to track Tropical Depression Isaac coming up for you in a little bit, along with our local forecast. Thunderstorms taking place as we speak. Back to you.
All right. Well, we've got some really unsettled weather out there with lightning and thunderstorms popping up in some areas of the Southland. Yeah. It's getting bad out there in some areas.
It is, yeah. It's so much so that we're under a severe thunderstorm warning. We've got flood advisories out there, some really severe cells to talk about. Hundreds of lightning strikes taking place over the last couple of hours. We've been focusing on Isaac, big picture, and as we get that look, you're going to see, well, that red on your screen, red, pink, yellow, orange. This is a very severe cell right there sitting overhead. We're looking at lightning, thunder, heavy downpours, hail even. We even got some reports actually recently out of Palmdale that there was an outage, power outage there. We did see some cells pass over the high desert, and we're still looking at cells over the high desert and the mountains closer to Palm Springs as well. Let's get a closer look at this particular cell sitting just off the 10, between the 215 and the 10. Take a look right there on your screen. You're going to see the red and the pink. That is indicating, again, severe weather. We're talking lightning, thunder, possibly some downpours with that as well. A closer look at, well, Palm Springs just south of the 10 right there. We are looking at several lightning strikes in the area, severe weather in the area as well. Between the 18 and the 15, we're getting some cells as well. We're looking at dozens of lightning strikes, lightning, thunder, and downpours in the area right now as we speak. No surprise that we're looking at several advisories and warnings out there. A flood advisory staying in effect for the next 30 minutes at least, and a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for at least the next 15 minutes. We're looking at severe cells all through the high desert and the mountains as well. No surprise because it's heating up out there. We've got that instability in the mix of the two, creating for, well, the thunderstorms that we're seeing right there on your screen. You're going to see the lightning strikes, and behind it we're showing you how warm it is outside right now. 70s, 80s, 90s out there as well. 94 in Riverside over to Palmdale, 93, PV at 71. We are expecting to make it to the triple digits today. You'll see Pacoima getting close at 99. Lancaster slated to get up to 100 degrees over the next hour or so. Alhambra at 93, Downey 88. Heading over to Orange County along the coast, 78. As we head over to Irvine, 90 degrees. Forest, we should get up to about 90 today. Up to the Apple Valley, where we are looking at some lightning strikes, thunder and lightning in the area. We're looking at temperatures in the 90s, and same thing up in Big Bear, some severe weather up in the mountains. 75 degrees for you today. Over to Paris, 97, and Temecula getting up to about 93 degrees over the next hour or so. We're going to have those official highs, of course, coming down for you closer to the 4 o'clock hour. Until then, still very toasty out there, as we mentioned. 80s out there. We've got 90s out there as well. Do want to show you what's going on. We've got another hurricane sitting to our south, Ileana right there, kicking up some tropical moisture. And with that, we could see more showers, more thunderstorms as we head into next week. And this chance of thunderstorms that we're seeing right here, that monsoonal moisture that's working its way in, that could potentially affect us through at least tomorrow. On top of that, we do have a trough of low pressure starting to dip into Southern California. And with that, we're expecting cooler forecasts as we head into the next few days. Not quite cooler today, but as we head into Friday and your weekend, we're talking 90s. We'll have your forecast for the basin and the coast. That's all coming up in a little bit. Back to you.
All right, next back the afternoon.
Well, Dave, those thunderstorms have really started to pop off this afternoon. That's because temperatures got very warm and we've been looking at a pretty unstable environment. So the combination making for what we're seeing on radar right now. We've got lots of watches, warnings, and advisories to talk about in just a second. First, you'll see all of these lightning strikes. We're talking hundreds over the high desert, over the mountains as well. Some bringing us lightning, thunder, and downpours along the 215 and the 10 right there. Getting a closer look right there at the 18, we're looking at a little bit of, well, more than just a little bit of rain, heavy downpours, lightning, thunder. As we take it down to the 2 right there, up into the mountains, we are dealing with severe thunderstorms. As a result, a severe thunderstorm warning, a flood advisory and watch, a flash flood warning in effect. Also, a flood advisory just going into effect for the LA County Mountains and the Antelope Valley through this evening, and a high surf advisory we're going to be talking about and addressing, and that's going to affect tomorrow, lasting through the weekend. We'll have the latest on your forecast and all of the thunderstorms we're tracking, and of course, Isaac. That's all coming up in a bit. Dave, back to you.
All right, look forward.
Well, Lena and Sylvia, we've seen hundreds of lightning strikes, and we're still dealing with dozens as we speak right now. We're giving you a look at the big picture. Pretty amazing how fast these cells started rolling in. It was very isolated, but at this point, we're seeing some activity right there over the San Gabriel Valley, all the way up to the high desert, also out to the IE as well. So it's become quite widespread. Let's get a closer look at some of these cells on radar as we do, spanning from Pasadena all the way to Commerce and El Monte. We're looking at a pretty big cell sitting overhead, and with that, we're looking at lightning, thunder, downpours, potential hail in the area as well. Taking you up to the mountains to Wrightwood along the 2 right there, closer to the 15 and the 138. We're looking at dozens of lightning strikes as we speak. Of course, the red, the yellows, the orange, the pink, the warmer colors on your screen indicating severe cells. Over the high desert just to the east, we're dealing with plenty of lightning, thunder, and potential hail in the area as well. And closer to Lake Elsinore right now, we're also dealing with a few severe cells, and closer to Murrieta. Along the 79, there's a little cell sitting overhead. As we take you up to Adelanto and Victorville along the 15, very severe weather. That big cell sitting overhead between the 395 and the 15. We're going to have the latest on your watches, warnings, advisories out there, and of course your extended forecast as well. That's all coming up in a little bit. Lena and Sylvia, back to you.
All right.
Sylvia, flash flood warnings, advisories, even watches out there, all in effect for the majority of the Southland right now. Take a look, a flood advisory coming down over Kern County, then over LA County, over the LA County Mountains, the Antelope Valley, even spanning into the basin. We're looking at that flash flood warning in effect for at least the next hour. Also looking at flood advisories in the area through tonight. Why? We'll take a look at the big picture right here on radar. We're looking at several. Yes, go ahead, Sylvia. We're going to have to send it back to you.
We're going to interrupt you and go straight up to Gil Lake.
Over the last hour and even over the last few hours, we've seen some very impressive thunderstorm cells. Take a look. This is a live shot right now from our Blue Ridge camera. Very ominous out there. We've seen lightning strikes in the area, and we've seen downpours in the area as well. We actually have video from earlier today in Yucaipa. I'm going to step off and show you that from earlier. Those on radar right here. We've got flood advisories, flash flood warnings in effect for at least the next hour or so, and flood advisories and watches in effect till later this evening around 8 o'clock or so. We're looking at dozens of lightning strikes, and we're already looking at ponding water out on the roadways and of course runoff from the higher elevations, a big concern for us this afternoon. As we get a look at the big picture on radar, take a look at all of these thunderstorm cells sitting over the high desert, sitting over the mountains, and even making their way into the metro metro area. Take a look right here, Arcadia into Almonte and Pasadena up toward La Cañada, Flint Ridge. We're looking at a pretty big cell over the area, providing us not only with heavy rain, but lightning, thunder, and potential hail in the area. Taking up to Wrightwood to the mountains right there along the 2, you're going to see some heavy rain in the area, and over to Little Rock and Palmdale. Take a look at these heavy cells sitting overhead. Again, we've seen dozens of lightning strikes. We've seen some minor flooding in the area as well, so that's something we're going to continue to watch out for. Taking you along the 15 right now, a few isolated thunderstorms right there. You'll see over Lake Elsinore, we're dealing with them, and just along the 15 as well, we're seeing a few lightning strikes. And Adelanto dealing with a pretty big cell between the 395 and the 15 right now, at least a dozen lightning strikes as we speak. Temperatures right now very warm, so it's these summer-like thunderstorms that are popping off. We're seeing a lot of convection out there, essentially just looking at very warm temperatures mixed in with moisture. That's creating for instability and those unstable conditions leading to all the thunderstorms we're seeing out in the area right now. Temperatures currently in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 90 in Palmdale right now. Downey, we're at 86. Over to Riverside, we're also at 86 in the Lucerne Valley. The Apple and Lucerne Valley is also dealing with thunderstorms at the moment, currently at 72 degrees. We're going to have that extended forecast coming up for you momentarily, so don't go away. Lena and Sylvia, back to you.
All right.
Right, very active out there. Moreno Valley, actually, things are starting to slow down. So as we get a look at radar, you're going to see it's mostly dry out there. So that's good news for the neighborhood, again, that recently just got flooded. But we're not ruling out the possibility of more flooding because, again, there's runoff. And that's the big concern with these flash flood watches and these flash flood, well, advisories as well, or flood advisories. Want to give you a look at Studio City. Sitting right overhead of the broadcast center right here, we're looking at some heavy downpours up in the hills of Studio City, closer to Reclaw Drive and in the Donias as well, as we head over to Riverside Drive, still dealing with heavy rain there. We're going to have more on all the cells around the Southland right now. We are getting a lot of lightning, thunder, and downpours over spots like Alhambra and Pasadena as well. The latest coming up in your extended forecast as well in a little bit. Back to you.
These active cells are right now, Ev?
Well, Sylvia, let's take a look at radar right now, and we're looking at a few active cells over the valley right now, the San Fernando Valley, actually up toward Pasadena. We're still looking at some active cells, and up toward the high desert as well. Spots in the IE starting to calm down a little bit. Still looking at rain out there, but not quite as heavy as what we saw earlier. A new cell actually developing over Southgate into Downey right there. You're going to see pretty heavy rain associated with this particular cell, possibly even some hail, lightning, thunder, and heavy wind gusts as well. As we get a look at the cell that's been sitting over Studio City for quite a while now, we're looking at heavy rain starting to move in over North Hollywood. Along Riverside, we're looking at that rain into Studio City up in the hills along Reclaw Drive and in the Donias as well, still looking at some heavier downpours. As we take you up toward Pasadena, take a look right here, still dealing with very heavy rain along the 110 and streets like North Garfield Avenue. As we head into Alhambra, we're looking at very heavy rain in the area as well. We want to show you this particular cell just sitting to the west of the 395. They're very impressive. We're looking at dozens upon dozens of lightning strikes in the area over the desert right now. No surprise that we have several advisories and warnings in effect as we speak. We've got flood advisories in effect, flash flood warnings for the majority of the Southland right now. And worth pointing out that high surf advisory that goes into effect tomorrow, lasts through the weekend. Speaking of the weekend, we do have that extended forecast coming up for you momentarily. Just want to show you temperatures outside right now in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And it's those warm temperatures that really helped kick off those thunderstorms. So temperatures are above average today. As we know, we've got isolated thunderstorms out there. We are eventually expecting a cool down. With that, we should see less thunderstorm activity. But next week, the remnants of hurricane, well, we've got a hurricane sitting to our south, and with that, we could see the remnants that could actually make its way into our forecast. So we could see some tropical moisture with that. For the basin in Orange County today, we were a little cooler as we head to tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine. As we head to Saturday, we're near average by Sunday, a little warmer. And by Monday, we're expecting some cloud cover back in the forecast. Lena and Sylvia, back to you.